Welcome to the Crazy Cool Family Podcast with Don and Suzanne Manning. Parents, what if we could give you the power to transform your family into something absolutely amazing?
A family where everyone is healthy, gets along, loves Jesus, and has great purpose in life.
Hey, let us flip your thinking to unlock the power God has given you to create your own Crazy Cool family.
Hello, welcome to the Crazy Cool Family Podcast. I have Mollie here. Mollie Michelle Matthews Torres. Mollie Michelle Matthews Manning Torres. Anyway, and so she's here today to help me talk about the family name. So we're talking about family culture made simple, and then we're in our little series, wrapping up the whole series, but finishing up the unity part with the family name. And so I wanted Mollie to come and be on the podcast because I would say that she was our biggest advocate or guinea pig or she was the person that we used the family name on the most. And so she's the one that we had to get buy-in from her, because when she started using it, then she would say it to the families. Well, Mannings do not leave the house dressed like that.
I always said it in more positive ways.
Mannings do not, or Mannings are helpers. Mannings help.
Please help me.
And so anyway, so that's what we're going to kind of talk about. So from your perspective, Mollie, what was family name? Like, describe to everybody. Channel your inner 5-year-old or maybe 10-year-old.
Probably 10 to 13. Well, I think our specific family name, the Mannings, there was a lot of things we did and didn't do. And I think we've talked about this before, but I think it's really important when you do start to build the culture of your family and your family name, you focus on the things you do, not so much like, don't do this, don't do that. When you do that, we're disappointed or whatever. But in our house, Mannings, we were kind to each other. We were helpful. We were siblings, were our best friends. We made good grades, B's or A's. We always cleaned up our room before bed. We did our 3 things before bed. In the seasons where mom and dad felt strongly about morning Bible studies, Mannings woke up to read the Bible. Or the seasons...
That didn't last very long, because the mother didn't want to get out of bed.
Or the seasons where dad spent a lot of time with us memorizing scripture. He would always be like, Mannings memorize scripture. Mannings root this in their hearts. Mannings gave it our all on the basketball court. Mannings didn't argue with the refs. Mannings had good sportsmanship. Mannings didn't say what, we said yes. When we answered the phone, we said, "This is Mollie." We didn't say hello. And so that's just a lot of the little practical things that we did. But overall, Mannings, Jesus was our best friend. Mannings chose church and community over a bunch of other things. And I think one thing that was important to me, at least growing up, is mom and dad never said, Mannings do this, and then didn't do it themselves. So it was they were, our pastor has always said, your family culture or culture of any organization is not something you can tell other people. Other people tell you what your culture is. So you can determine it, you can teach it, you can express it, but someone on the outside will say, oh, wow, this is your culture. Yeah. So for me, they were telling me to do all these things or to act all this way or how we acted, but it was never outside of things that they did themselves. So they chose church over everything else. They were kind to us. They treated us like their best friends. They woke up and spent time with God. They did everything with all of their heart. Mom made sure the kitchen was clean every night before she went to bed. So I think it's important for your children to get them to buy in, to walk the walk.
Play the game.
As you're saying, we do these things as a family. Make sure they're things as parents you're doing too.
Yeah, that's so good. And so when we talk about unity, we talk about unifying everybody, and the family name is a tool to do that by. What it does is it scoops everybody up, and it gives them a common goal or a value. And we talked about the family values in the past podcast. And so what it does is it gives them a place to focus on, to do. Oh, this is what we do. It almost gives them a reason to do it this way. Well, the rest of the family's doing it this way, so I'm going to do it this way.
Well, yeah, and I think as you're growing up as a kid, you don't ever want people say this, and you don't ever want your kid to not act out of like the true desire of their heart, you know, and even God is like, don't be religious, like choose me because you want to. But I think it's also important to note that like your feelings will follow faith. So sometimes it's okay if you get your kids to act that way, and eventually it will become something that they believe in. And so for us, you know, it was like, okay, maybe at a young age, we didn't really know why you guys were saying that or doing that. But as time went on, it was all something that we actually bought into and believed to, because it gave us a reason to do the things. And also it gave us a reason not to do the things. Like I can't, and it was like such a great excuse sometimes to just be like, yeah, no, I'm not going to do that, because I knew that affected like our family name. I mean, I grew up in a really tiny private school in a really tiny town, but all of my friends that I know now were like drinking in high school and all that kind of stuff. And I didn't, because there were multiple times when things were offered to me or presented to me where I was like, how would this affect the Manning family overall? You know, Dad was an elder. Like, we spent time, and you guys had built up the reputation of our family name. And I had 6 younger siblings at the same school. And so if I chose to make that choice, then it not only affected me personally and potentially the trajectory of my choices, but it cascaded down to them. Mm-hmm. And that wasn't, I think a lot of times people will be like, wow, that's a lot of pressure. And for me, it wasn't pressure. It was more of like a calling up, you know, like this is so much bigger than you. This is not all about you. You know, we weren't put on this earth to be alone or to be by ourselves. We were put on this earth to be in community. Like, you know, we're reading the New Testament at church right now, and there's multiple times where the new church, it talks about they sold everything for the good of others. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, that's mentioned in 2 different chapters back to back in Acts. And even the couple that didn't be honest about their money died. Yeah, exactly. When they tried to keep it for themselves. And so it's biblical to do something greater than yourself and to set yourself aside for the greater good of like your people.
Yeah, to be. Well, and so for, you know, as you're talking, I'm thinking it was a way, you know, we're showing our children a way to live something, because they're gonna find it, and they're gonna choose to be a part of something. Way. Yes. I mean, there is a way, and so it can be our way, or it can be the world's way, or it can be their peers' way, or it can be social media's way. Totally. I mean, it can be whatever that is. And so for us, we were just pretty intentional on what the way was going to be by identifying that and saying, and so once again, the easy way to do that is the family name. And so you just take your last name and you say, well, the Torreses, that's, you know, Mollie's last name, we do this, or the Joneses, or the Robinsons, or the Reams, or the, you know, the Mannings do this. And so that's how you create the Manning name, is you just figure out, or the family name, I guess, you just decide what are the values that you have in your family, what's important to you, what's the way that you want to show your children.
Well, and it's so fun. Like Sebastian's only 4, and even yesterday we were having a conversation in the car, and I say this because it doesn't have to be hard. Like, you don't have to come up with these lofty theological things, and maybe that is something you like to do and you want to do that, but Damien and I are literally just sometimes looking at each other and we're like, yeah, go with that. Well, that's going to be a family value. We need that. Like, flying by the seat of our pants, because like yesterday he was, you know, he's 4, and I guess 4-year-olds have no delayed gratification. I'm learning this, but you know, he wants these to collect stickers for his water bottle. And I had told him I ordered him some in the mail, and he wanted them right then. And he was throwing a fit about a gift that was coming that wasn't there yet. And I just like, literally, I was like, I have been asking God to like quickly in my mind change my thinking before I speak. So I was like, Holy Spirit, give me something. And literally out of my mouth, I was like, you know what, Bash, in our family, we change our attitude for gratitude. We're going to have an attitude of gratitude. And he was looking at me like, okay, Mom, what does that even mean? And I was like, let's.
Those are some big words. Yeah. Can you spell those words, Mom?
Probably not. But I was like, well, what can we be grateful for? You know, what can we be grateful for? And I had this realization that like 5 minutes prior to that, I had thrown a huge fit about just my day and my life. And so I was like, you know what, buddy, I actually didn't live that out. I'm a Torres. You and me are both Torreses. That is our last name. And I'm so sorry. I'm actually going to be grateful that we even have a car to sit in traffic with, and we even have the time to run this errand all the way to Dallas or whatever. And so, I mean, that is something that I just like, it just happened. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like this big thing that we sat down and thought out. And I think there are important things to do as they get older, but as they're little, don't don't freak out. Like
it will come to you.
It will come to you, and then you can be like,
might not know what your values are, but they'll surface
over time. Yeah, and I think Damien has done a really awesome job, and I think that this is like the word to the dads that listen to this podcast is like they determine like the pride of the family, and that is biblical, and that is like in nature you see that. And I know there are families out there that dad's not in the picture or he's not available, so moms, you get the great honor to take that mantle upon yourself. But whoever is, the leader of your family, Damien has told Bash so early on that like we love our last name. The Torres, we take pride in who we are. We take pride in our culture, and Bash knows very, very detailed who our Torres is and who are not, and he's like, I'm a Torres. And so because Damien has built that pride in him for his last name, then now we can attach to it the things that the Torreses do. If the Torres last name meant nothing to Bash, then he'd be like, well, why do I even have to do that?
Yeah.
So I think just whoever the leader is of your family, like take pride. And if you have bad family line or generational sin, then you're like, I don't even know if I want to be a part of it. Like you get to do it now.
Oh yeah.
You get to be, this is your family. Yeah. You get to determine who your children are in the name and stand on, they get to stand on your ceiling, not, oh my gosh, there's nothing to even stand on. Like, no, you get to rebuild it.
Yeah, and so I just want to just super briefly go through, or maybe detailed, whichever we decide, go through the 5 things that happen when you build your family name. And so just know that we are known by our name, whether we build it or not, whether we're intentional or not. We're the Mannings. We carried that because there was a bunch of us. There was one in every single grade. And so they'd be, oh, you're a Manning. Oh, you're a Manning. And I even remember pushback, like, I don't want to follow in the shadow of the sister before me or the brother before me, and I don't want to, and we had to convince them, oh no, that is so valuable.
They did all the work.
Yes, they did all the yes, they brought in a good reputation. They showed that you were there, you're a good student, that you're a hard worker. So now when you walk through the door, the teacher says, oh, another man, favor. Good. Yes, there's favor. And so just know that you're going to be known by your name. And so if your big brother or your big sister was terrible, and they were a bad student and they went through the school system and you had to follow that up and you had to go back and clean up a reputation, then
how important it is.
Yes, how important it is for us to be intentional with the family name. And so like Christians, it says they are known by their name, followers of the way. We are known by who we follow, what we do, how we act, how we respond. And just what are some, famous names that you can throw out there?
Yeah, like it immediately elicits something, and you're like Kennedy or Einstein, Edison. You could Van Gogh, like immediately all those names elicit something.
Like Lincoln, I'm thinking big black hat and the
honesty.
penny.
Or was that George Washington? Maybe not, I don't know. Yeah. But they all have like a name that they are associated with, and their families too, for that matter.
Yes. And so with that, carries a weight and a reputation. So just know that we're known by our names. How do we want to be known?
Right. And
that's what we're building.
Yeah. And it's such a good point that you're going to be known no matter what. So you might as well choose to be known by like the values that you deem important.
Well, and that's what you want to build into your kids. You want to build in the you're known by your name, and you're the name that you carry, like Damien's doing, is an incredible and amazing name, and we want to do great things with this name.
Right.
So along with that, the second thing is as you're doing that, you're building the reputation, the legacy, the standard to live up to.
Right.
The name goes before you, just like we said, into the classroom or onto the field or the court or wherever you are. It goes before you.
Yeah.
And it comes behind you.
Yeah.
And so I remember Madeline going to the University of or Texas A&M, yes, and she went and she was a part of an organization that people knew her because she'd gone to school with those people.
So that her name,
carried over. They had known her from high school, and so that got her into what was it? Fish Shades. It was called Fish Shades. And so then it was a shoo-in for Macy and Mackenzie to get into Fish Shades, and if any other Manning had gone, they would have gotten in that organization. And it was a prestigious organization that only 25 boys, 25 girls got in the freshman class, which are thousands and thousands of students. And so they had paved the way for them. And so it's just important. I mean, even all the way down to preschool, if you've got like,
well, yeah, the little school that Bash goes to, they talk about like the brothers and the sisters. So Bash is in pre-K and his teacher has a kindergartner. And because Bash loves the kindergartner and the kindergartner pays attention to Bash and gives Bash hugs during recess, Bash is obsessed with the teacher. And vice versa. And Bash knows all about even the older sister. She's in middle school because they all share the same name. And because that kindergartner has given Bash the time of day and probably acted out his family values, Bash has bought in to that kindergartner's mom as being the best teacher ever.
Yes.
And probably vice versa. The mom was like speaking the praises of her son and doing their family values, which is probably kindness and encouragement. And Bash was like, oh, that's your son? I'm totally cool.
Yes.
And like even Bash understands that like there are babysitters that come to our house that he might have never known before. But if I connect the dots with, oh, do you know so-and-so at church, this is their daughter, or oh, like he has had 2 different nannies over the last 2 years and they're best friends with each other. And as soon as I was like, oh, Emily's Caitlin's best friend, he's like, oh, done, I'm in.
Yes.
Because Caitlin has paved the way for the name of whoever it is. And so they're going, and I just think it's such a good point you said with social media. I didn't grow up with that. So I literally did not have Instagram until after I graduated college, which is kind of crazy to think about and ages me rather a lot. But their Instagram and the people they follow are feeding them who to be, who to follow.
It literally says followers. How many followers
and like
do I have?
And they're called influencers.
Yeah.
So they're literally influencing your children to be something. And if that voice is louder than the voice of your home, then they will follow because that is how we are. Like God literally created us to be a part. I was asking God on the way over here, like, what do you have to say about this? And he was like, this is part of my heart. Like having a name, being included, being a part of my family is my heart for you. And so, I mean, even just like in the story of Mary in the New Testament, when Mary Magdalene, like when Jesus rose from the dead and her and the disciples went back, the disciples went into the tomb and they left. They were like, well, he's not here. We're leaving. And Mary stayed and she wept and she said to the angels, like, where's my Jesus? Mm-hmm. And Jesus came back and he just said her name, Mary. And she immediately knew, oh, that's Jesus. And she went and she clung to him and he knew her. He called her by her first name. All he had to do was say Mary. And so it is God's heart to be a part of something, to have a name stamped on you. And so if you know that that's God's heart, then you also know that that's what the kingdom of darkness is going to try to do, the opposite. So you need to be very vigilant about, it's not like this thing that's just going to happen or not happen. If God says it's part of his heart, then it's part of the kingdom's heart to do the kingdom of darkness's heart to do the opposite. So that gives us the momentum and the passion to be like, oh, let me build this. Yeah. Let me do this in our home.
The motivation.
Yeah.
And so, oh my goodness, that's so good, Molly, because what is inside of us is we are wired with the desire to belong.
Yes.
We want to belong to something that's,
bigger than ourselves.
Bigger than ourselves, for sure. And so knowing that, kids that don't have a place to belong, they join gangs.
They'll find a part.
They'll find something because we are wired to belong, to be a part of a community.
Right.
And the very first community we ever get to be a part of is family.
Right.
That's where we learn how to get along with others and to relate and have relationships and to have loyalty and honor and respect and all of that. That's all in that. And so a simple way to do that is to wrap it up with the family name.
Right.
That's how you teach the honors and the values and the respect and all that. So that's how you teach
it's
to be
the buy-in.
Yeah, this is something we're a part of. And so we could walk into any place because we're the Mannings. I remember we went to summer camp. It was a camp, but it was a family camp.
Oh, we talk about this together all the time in our podcast.
All the time. And so we were known at church because we had a whole bunch of kids, and we were known at the school because there was a small school. It was a small church at the time. And so we were just kind of, but we went to this family camp and we were not known.
No one.
No one knew who we were. They didn't know we were the Mannings. Not that we are anything at all, and not that we're walking in, hey, we're celebrities, we're the Mannings. It was nothing like that. It was just we were used to knowing someone and someone knowing us, familiarity, and they did not know us. But by the end of the week,
By golly, they knew us, for better or for worse.
Because there were people that were walking up to us at the end of the week going, we were watching you all week long, and you've got the sweetest family, or you've got your oldest daughter is so kind to her
Did they really say that?
Yes, I remember that. Yes, I specifically remember because we left you back and you were watching
Maddox.
and yeah, you were smitten with him.
Oh,
I
yeah,
mean, you thought he was
the
just
best.
so cute, and so they watch. Anyway, all that to say is that it's something for our children to be belonged to, but it is also something that others see and define us as and attach us as.
Totally. Well, and even now it's funny, like there's like in all the movies and stuff, usually the younger sibling is called like, oh, you're Mollie's younger brother. Oh, you're because they go first, like Mom said. But it's funny. It goes both ways. Like if you get everyone to buy in, then maybe at the beginning people are like, oh, you're Mollie's younger sister. Oh, you're Mollie's younger brother. But now like only me and McCade, the 16-year-old, live in Texas. Everyone else is in Arkansas. And it's cool because there's 3 girls at one church and 2 boys at another church. And I can walk into any one of those places and they're like, oh my gosh, you're Michael's sister. Oh my gosh, you're Madeline's sister. And a lot of times it's like, you're the only Manning I haven't met. It's like a scavenger hunt. I collected them all. And that's like the end of the conversation because I'm like, yeah, okay, I don't know what to tell you. But it's so cool for me to see that it works in reverse of like, oh, like, yeah, they've done the work here. They've built their reputation here. And these people don't know me at all. They probably have never seen my face, but because Michael and Maddox have built their reputation and worked hard and joined fellowship and community with their church, those people have now an associated thought about me. And it's an awesome one because Maddox and McCade did the work, not because of anything I did. So it's like, literally, they have created the name that I'm a part of when they don't know me at all.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so good. Yeah, another one of our little 5 things that happen with a name is that it helps us to be part of something bigger than ourselves. It makes us an awareness, and so there's so many times as kids, well, they're born with the world revolves around them. And sometimes we grow out of it, but I've met many adults that have never grown out of that the world revolves around them. And there's lots of times that I even have an expectation that the world's going to revolve around me.
Right.
But the family name brings awareness to make you realize, it's not, the world doesn't revolve around you. It's not just you. There are other people that are living in this house that are,
affected by my choices, my decisions, my actions.
Yes, which then ties into the last one is that it opens our minds to selflessness. And you kind of mentioned that, Molly, that you couldn't go and do in high school like your friends were because you had a long line of people behind you, siblings behind you, family named Mannings. That couldn't do that, or like you played volleyball, and so the sisters all played volleyball after you because you played volleyball, and so it opens the door, I think, to show us that it's not all about me. I am a leader, and I'm leading the people. How am I going to lead, and what does that look like?
Yeah, no, for sure, and I think I wrote about this in the book a little bit at the very, very end. So if you ever make it all the way through, but like it in both 4 and 5 being part of something bigger than ourselves, and then also just opens our mind is like, because I am a Manning, I get to claim the things that the Mannings do that I'm not good at or that I don't walk in. So for instance, Macy is an incredible worship leader. I said in the book, like, Mackenzie's an incredible runner, but mainly that boils down to she's the most disciplined person I have ever met. Madeline is like the funnest mom in the whole world. And I am not all of those things I listed. I am not any. But because they are Mannings and they claim those things, I get to be like, okay, let me pull a little bit about that from them. Like, they're bringing that to the table as a part of the culture that I'm a part of. So because they're doing that, I get to own it too. And I mean, the Bible says like the power of the words are life and death. So if I say I'm disciplined in Jesus' name, it's going to start to transform my life. And maybe I'm never going to be a good worship leader, but I can change my heart to that, And so, it gives you this like reason to act outside of yourself. Like there are so many times in the past, even like 2 or 3 years, where like my selfish heart for me, Molly, has wanted to do something, but I'm like, that might not be beneficial to my sisters, or that might not be beneficial to my family. And so God, like, is that something I need to act out in? Or is there a different invitation there? And 99% of the time there's a different invitation there. And so I just think what that looks like growing up is like your kids start to hear that in their head of, oh, wait, Mannings don't throw fits. Even though my little sister's throwing a fit right now, I'm going to do my best not to. Mm-hmm. Or even, I mean, I have memories in my head of saying to Malin and Macy, we don't throw fits. And part of that was like, so we didn't all get in trouble. So there might have been a point of selfishness there, but I was buying in, you know, like, or, oh my gosh, we just get along. Like so many times babysitting, I was like, guys, you're supposed to be best friends. And they would look at me like, well, yeah, you too. But it was like, we were just doing it all together.
So that's good. And so McCade said something the other day that was kind of about that. We were just talking about, what's going on in high school. He's a sophomore right now, and, they're vaping, and they're starting to, mess with drinking a little bit, because that's what high school kids do. And I'm like, McCade, are you ever tempted to do that? Are you ever? And he was going, are you kidding me? I could never do that. I am number 7 of 7, and no one else has done that. So for me to do that now, I mean, and he's super black and white.
He would do it or not do it. It doesn't matter.
And so for him, it's like, and so, but just because of that, even the way he delivers that, he's like, Mom, you're an idiot to think that I would even consider that. And I'm like, good to know. I mean, good to know.
Well, and that's even cool too, because vaping wasn't around. It was maybe only around for Maddox, the kid above him. So because like that name where it goes before us and it's left after us, because 6 or 5 of his older siblings chose decisions, even in things outside of what he's being presented to or presented with, it has gone so much before him that he's just like, yeah, that's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. McCade's so funny. In being with the family name, him and I serve together at church, and I serve in the middle school girls, and we take a picture together every time we serve, and they are just like, I can't believe that's your brother. Like, I'm cool because McCade is cool. I'm just like, and he even like started this little small group, and he was talking to Mom, and he's like, I have like an older couple that's leading, but I need like a younger person to bridge the gap. And Mom said, well, what about Molly? And he was like, maybe someone a little bit younger.
But I even think that's like a full, complete circle, because when McCade was a little boy, he was so cute, and all of Molly's friends were teenagers, and they adored him. They would run and scoop him up. I mean, his self-confidence is built
because
by
of the high school
your
girls.
High school girls. Yes, and so what goes around comes around.
Yeah, he has given me in our youth, our student ministry at our church that we both get the honor to go to together. He has given me clout.
Yes, exactly. And you gave him clout.
Well, yeah, there we go.
Little,
full
so
circle.
And so that's what family's all about.
Yeah.
That's what we're saying as we wrap this up, that your family unity can be built on a super simple concept of your family name. Take your last name and just start assigning some qualities to it, assigning some desires. I mean, things that are not like we would say Mannings are kind when they were very much not being kind, or Mannings
call it out,
declare Mannings share, and they just popped the last gummy bear in their mouth. They did not share,
exactly.
And so I just, say all the time, call forth what is not as if it isn't. It will eventually be.
Absolutely.
Something like that.
Yep.
All right. So go be crazy. Go build your family name.
Yep.
Yeah. So go be crazy. crazycofamily.com.
Yay.